Welcome to Good Burger, home of the Good Burger. Can I take your order? Ha ha!
Mr. Bill, I'm so hungry. Yo, can I get some food around here, yo? Oh, yes. I'm starving. Can I have something to eat too?
Yo, there's nothing like fast food, is there? Right? I mean, come on. It's convenient. When you want it, you get it. Right? And Rocky got me this nice little Happy Meal, which I'm really thankful for. We'll take a look at that a little bit later to see what he got me in there. Hopefully I got a good prize. But fast food is great, isn't it? I mean, you're hungry, you say, I want something, you pull up to the window, you order it, you get it, and you're filled. But see, fast food isn't something that is new. Actually, Jesus was the first fast food supplier. Yeah, and actually in John 6, Jesus, he supplied fast food to a crowd of people. There was these huge crowds following Jesus, right? Because he's on the scene and he's out there, he's teaching, he's preaching, he's healing people, and all these people are following him, and they're far, far away from any food. So Jesus he's there with his disciples, and he says this in John 6. It was nearly the Jewish Passover, so you have all these people coming. There's millions of people, and it says Jesus soon saw a huge crowd of people coming to look for him. Turning to Philip, Jesus said,
Where can we buy bread for all these people?
he was testing Philip, for he already knew what he was going to do. See, Jesus knew that he was going to provide fast food to all these people. Now, was Jesus going to make a whole bunch of food really, really fast? No, what Jesus is going to do is he's going to provide this food for a huge crowd of people really, really fast. But what it's going to do is it's going to prove to the people that he is God, that he is the Messiah that God had promised from the beginning of time. So it says, Philip replied.
Even if we work for months, we still wouldn't have enough money to feed them.
Verse 8, then Andrew, Simon Peter's brother, spoke up.
There's a young boy here with 5 loaves and 2 fish, but what good is that with this huge crowd?
Then Jesus says in verse 10,
Tell everyone to sit down.
so everybody sat down on the slopes. And it says the men alone numbered 5,000. So you're talking just men, just the dads. And then you have the wives, right? The mom and the dad, and then all the kids. So if you calculate all these people, Jesus is looking at maybe 25,000 people. That's a lot of people to feed really fast. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't think McDonald's or Wendy's can feed that amount of people that quick. So it says, all these people sat down. Then Jesus took the loaves, gave thanks to God, and distributed them to the people. Afterward, he did the same with the fish, and they all ate as much as they wanted. After everyone was full, Jesus told his disciples, now gather the leftovers so that nothing is wasted. So his disciples went and they picked up all the leftovers. So we're in John 6, and we see that Jesus is the first fast food supplier. Now, am I serious about that? No. Right? We're kind of tying these things together because Jesus provided this food so quick to so many amount of people. But we want to see, what is Jesus teaching us here?
Man, I'm hungry.
I'm getting hungry too with all this talk about food. So what is Jesus trying to teach us here? All right, well, let's take a look in our Happy Meal. Right, so what are the things that we usually get in a Happy Meal? Well, first we get our little sippy drink, right? Apple juice with no sugar. Disgusting, right? Who wants that in a Happy Meal? All right, so Rocky, he got me, looks like a hamburger. Take a bite for you, see what it tastes like. What did you put in this? Dog food? Are you serious?
Oh yeah. Got him.
I don't even want to look through the rest. I don't trust anything that you give me. So let's just cut to it. I'm not even dealing with the food. So number one.
Order up, order up. You want to know what's for dinner tonight? Well, we got 2 number ones for dinner tonight. Who ordered a number 1 in this house?
Skylar, no.
Oh, was that you, sir? Is that you, sir? Here's the number 1 for you.
We're done with the fast food restaurant.
Order up, number 1. We got another number 1 here. I don't know who it goes to. Maybe the only other dog in here.
I'm not serious about us trying to find the real food.
Oh, is that you? Oh, that must be you. Here, order up. Dinner is served.
Rocky, what are you doing?
Nothing.
All right, so number one, what's Jesus teaching us here? Well, first of all, through this miracle, because he made this food appear and multiply out of nowhere, Jesus is showing us that he is Lord over nature, that he has total power over everything. Well, why? How does Jesus have total power over everything? Well, it's because he is God. He is the creator of the universe. You see, Jesus is the one that created the universe, and he's the one that sustains it, or he actually holds it together. And because he is God, he's able to take things that are created and multiply them. Right? He took the bread, he took the fish, he blessed it, and gave thanks to God for it. And then it multiplied. As he handed it out, it just kept multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. And that's that kind of like, the little theme or the joke that Jesus is the first fast food supplier. It's because he performed this miracle that you can't perform, I can't perform, and I don't know anybody who could perform that, not even McDonald's. So we see that number one is Jesus is teaching us that he is Lord over everything. Number two.
All right, order up. Number 2. We got a number 2. Order up. We got your full slice. We got the Elio's pizza here. We got your full rotisserie chicken. Took a bite out myself just to give it a taste test. You're A-okay.
Connor, we're done with the food.
This baby's delicious. And we got your roll here too. Got an
Stop.
order up for number 2. Don't forget your ketchup for your pizza. We got it on there. All
It's not a real order. It's not a real order. We're not in a fast food restaurant.
here. You're gonna need some plates, so I'll throw those in as well. And we'll add an egg for some dessert.
Number two, what Jesus is trying to teach us is that God can use what little that we give him. Right? We don't have to have all these big things before we come to God. God can use the little things, even like this little mini French fry that I get in a Happy Meal. Right? God doesn't need a whole bunch of stuff from us to be able to use it or to multiply it. God can use what little we have if we are just willing to give it to him. And you might be thinking, oh, hey, I'm just a kid. What do I have? What can I give to God? I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I don't have a car. I can't help anybody. But see, you can. Because we all have this thing, and it's called time. See, you have time. You have energy. You can pray. There's all different things that you can give to God. Maybe you only have $2. Maybe if you gave your $2 to God, he would multiply it over and over and over and over again, just like Jesus did here with the fish and the loaves from the little boy.
Got your orange juice, order up, number 2, and your full carton of milk. You are ready to go.
All right, we're done with the food, okay? We're trying to see what Jesus is teaching us here from this miracle. All right, number 3.
So a number 3 with cheese.
Guys, we're done with the food. Can you stop, please?
You say cheese? Cheese. All right, coming right up.
I'm trying to teach the kids about the Bible and about Jesus, and you guys keep interrupting me with these little makeshift baby kitchens. Come on, guys, let's get serious around here. All right, number 3, what Jesus is trying to teach us is remember that every time we learn about the Old Testament or somebody in the Old Testament, what is the point of the Old Testament? Right? The Old Testament is meant to point to Jesus, to point to the future, and to show us the church today and the gospel. So what is Jesus showing us here? Well, if you guys remember that old guy, Moses, remember he led the people out of Egypt? Stop! Turn it off! Turn it off! Rocky, what are you doing?
Didn't you say Mozart?
Mozart? No, I said Moses.
Oh, my bad. Yo, are they cousins?
No, they're not cousins. They're not related at all. No, turn the keyboard off. Would you just sit down and listen? I'm constantly getting interrupted here. Sorry, guys. So, number 3, right? If you remember Moses, right? He led the people out of Egypt. And then when they were wandering in the wilderness, going to find their new country, Israel, he didn't really provide it, but God had provided manna from heaven, right? It's the bread that came from heaven. And what Jesus is showing us here is that he is the bread of heaven. Remember, back in the Old Testament, what's it meant to do? It's meant to point forward to show us Jesus. And that manna in the wilderness that God provided for the people of Israel and Moses, they were pointing forward to Jesus because he was going to be the bread from heaven. So Jesus is the bread that came down from heaven. Well, what do you mean? Is Jesus a piece of bread? Well, no, he's a person, right? Jesus was a real human being. So how is Jesus the bread of heaven? Well, what God is showing us here is that he is sovereign. He's in control of everything. He knows the beginning from the end and the end from the beginning. And that's how he was able to, he knew that Jesus was going to come. And he knew how and why. So God was able to provide that bread to Israel to point forward to later on show us about Jesus. So how is Jesus that bread from heaven? Well, Jesus, during the Lord's Supper or during communion, right? That's what he's kind of talking about. He's showing us that at the Last Supper when Jesus, he broke the bread and passed around the drink for his disciples to share, that he was the bread from heaven, that he was the one that came down and his body was going to be given on our behalf because we have sinned and we were separated from God. So Jesus is showing us, one, right, that he has total power over all nature. Number 2, that God can use what little we give him. We don't always have to have a whole bunch of stuff before we can give it to God. And number 3, that God is sovereign and that Jesus is the bread of heaven that came down to save us, to give us eternal life, not just a little bit of life, like food. So here's a question I want to ask you. Do you only follow Jesus when it's convenient, like a fast food restaurant? Do you follow Jesus when it's hard or when you don't want to? Or do you follow Jesus only when it's convenient, like you're at a drive-thru? You know, do you treat God like he's a drive-thru? Like you're pulling up to McDonald's and you're saying, well, you know what, I want something, so I'm going to pull up, I'm going to tell the person what I want, and you know, they're going to give me this cute little box, I'm going to get what I want, and then at the end, oh yeah, I even get a cute little prize. Is that how you treat God? Where when you want something, then you come to him, and that's the only time you come to him, and you expect to get a cute little prize at the end? Or do you follow Jesus because you actually love him? Do you follow Jesus because you've been born again? You see, Jesus is essential to everyday life. Just like the bread, just like the food we eat, we can't live without food. We can't live without bread. And because Jesus is the bread that came down from heaven, we can't have anything eternal without Jesus. See, God created us to live forever. But when Adam and Eve sinned, it destroyed everything that God had created. And then that's where death came from. And you see, everybody is appointed to die one time. And after that comes judgment. So when you stand before God one day, how will you answer Him? Will you be able to come into His presence and spend eternity with Him, which you were created for to begin with? Or you would be cast away into the outer darkness, away from the people that you love, away from all the joy, the love, happiness. You see, I think because of how we live in America and everything is so fast-paced, and even now with all the YouTube and video games, I think of something, I want it, I get it, right? But God's not like that. We can't treat God like He's a drive-through restaurant. We can't just come to Him and say, you know, God, I really want some Robux right now, so why don't you give them to me? Oh, and if you're not going to give them to me, then, you know, whatever, get out of here. Now, we need to treat God like He's actually God. Treat God the way He's supposed to be treated because of who He is, right? Because Jesus came down from heaven for you personally so that you could have eternal life through Him.